So we're going to take a look at 4 methods, options for clipping a corridor. In the bottom right, with my view 4 here, with a 3D view, I can see I've created a corridor with I happen to have 4 junctions already set up, but you can see in the view 3 top right that we have an issue with the clipping. The main corridor, we need to clip out the junction area from corridor 1. How do we do it? Well, the first method I'm going to show is the corridor clipping. We just add a clipping reference to the corridor 1, our main corridor. To do this, we just select the corridor. I can go into my corridor references and we can add a clipping reference. And all I need to do now is select the clipping reference. So I'll just pick this civil cell, I'll reset to complete, and we're clipping out the corridor underneath our civil cell. And you can see on the right hand side how we've modified that corridor 1 and things look pretty clean. This is also pretty good if I now go and move the center line of this junction. I can grab that and I could move it. So on small schemes, this can mean that you can quickly modify the junction position, and of course the corridor will reprocess and the clipping will update. Obviously on larger schemes with multiple junctions, this can take processing time. So once that is complete, I'll just undo that and we'll start looking at other methods of clipping the corridor. So here we have the second intersection along this corridor. So another method for clipping out of the corridor is to copy a template drop. And so to do this, again, we select the corridor and we can copy the template drop. And again, I'm just going to follow the heads up prompts here. You can see it's asking for a start. So I'm going to window in and I'm just going to use my snaps to select the start and end for my template drops. So it's now created a copy. And now I've got the template drop, I can just select the handles and I can go and modify the template drop. So if I go and edit this, what I can do is I can use the right hand mouse button in the template and we can delete the components that are not required. So if I OK that, we can now reprocess the corridor and we'll see how the junction area is clipped from the corridor. So we can see on the right hand side how it's tidied up the junction area quite nicely. We can also see on the template drop. Now I'm just going to move the position of this junction. Let's just grab the move point and we'll snap over here. Let's just get a snap going. Let's go and move the junction to somewhere over here. And as you can see that the corridor is not updated there. So what I'm going to have to do now is I would have to go and modify the template drops to update the junction. So I'd select the handles of the corridor and I'd have to bring them back to the tangent points on my repositioned junction. And so you can see here I've just tidied up the template drops to align with the new placement of the intersection and the corridor updates. We can see now that our corridor is updated and the clipping has been updated too. The third method we're going to look at involves the template, and we're also going to use point controls to clip out junction area from our corridor 1. So first of all, I'm going to look at the template drop, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a point control for the left hand side of the carriageway. To do that, I've had to set up some match line seek points. So I'm going to go to the left hand one here. I'm just going to select that. I'm going to right click and I'm going to edit the point just to see what we've got. We've called this match seek left. It's a do not construct, and you can see it's got a parent. It's vertically set from the center line by 400 mil. Okay, so how is this going to work? Well, if I just go and move the horizontal point control, you can see as I move this away from the center line towards the left, we've set up a display rule. So if this goes at a certain distance from the center line of the carriageway, the display rule will remove the curb, verge and all the earthworks to the left of this carriageway edge. Now how's that working? Let me just come out of that. And we can look at the component for this curb and gutter. And if I look in here, we set up a display rule. It's called left match line. And if we just check on that, there's my left match. Let's go and edit that. The display rule is set up between the match line anchor, which is the red cross, and the center middle of the template with my match line seek left. If the distance between those 2 points gets greater than 100 mil, then the display rule will kick in and remove the component. So let me just come out of that. So again, we'll just apply that and close. Let's just show you that again. Pick the control, let's move it so you can see as we get greater than 100 mil distance between the match line anchor and my match line left seek, the display rule kicks in. And you'll also note that the curb is the parent of the components to the left. So these will be children of the parent. So again, if I just double click on that, you can see it's got a parent of the curb and gutter type. So let's go and set this working now. So now that we've modified the template, we need to create an element for the point control. So I come onto my tasks, we'll use the single offset entire element. I'm just going to hover over the left edge of pavement. I'm going to right click until I get the seam feature, which is the road hinge in the civil cell. And I'm going to come 10 meters across to the left, and I don't want to mirror. Now there will be a slight issue with this, because if I select this, you can see we've got a relationship and rules, and this will cause a problem because it's a child of the corridor. So I need to select this element, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to remove the rule. The downside of this, if the junction does move, I'm going to have to recreate this element for the clipping, similar to what I did with the copy template in my previous option. So let's go and create a point control. Select the corridor, create point control. I'm going to select just before and just after the element we've created. It's going to be a left junction control description. We only need to find this horizontally with our match line left. It's linear geometry. There you go. Match line seek left. Again, I've picked that in the drop down. If you remember, that was in the template. So when that match line seek left finds the point control, the display rule will kick in and remove the left curb and the verge from the template point, and we'll let the corridor update. With this method, I'm going to have to add some key stations to insert some template drops on the corridor. So again, we'll select the corridor, we'll come in. I'm going to use the corridor objects here. I can go for my key station, and I'm going to go and add a key station. Just going to window in. So I'm just going to add a key station, snapping to the intersection there. And we'll select the corridor rebuild, and then we'll repeat this on the other side. Now I've added the two key stations, but we need to just remove a millimetre. It's as much as just all, that's just what we need. A millimetre removed from the stations, and this will resolve the corridor. And I'll have to repeat that on the second key station, where I'll have to add a millimetre. This is something that we're looking to resolve in a future release. The fourth method that we're going to look at again involves the template. So let's just go and select the template drop. We're going to edit the template drop. I'm going to look at the match line seek right. So this is similar to the match line seek left. If I just double click on this point, the only difference here is I've set up a horizontal feature constraint match line, and we're looking to the right 100 meters. So if this match line seek right finds a feature called match line on the right hand side of this corridor, we're hopefully going to set up a display rule. So I'm just going to close that. We'll go and check the display rules. We're just going to activate the template. Where's my display rule? There it is. So we have a right match line display rule, and if I just edit that, we can see again this match line seek right and match line anchor. If that value is less than 100 millimeters, the display rule will kick in. So if I come back to just to test this, if I right click, test horizontal point control, you can see as we get greater than 100 mil, we get the display rule removing the curve and its children from the template. So again, this is a horizontal feature constraint we're setting up here. So I'll just right click and OK that. So I now need to create a feature. It's going to be a match line feature again on the right hand side of this junction. So I'm going to use the single offset entire element again. We're looking for the right click to get the road hinge. This time I'm going to come 10 meters to the right with my match line. Don't need to mirror. Again, I'm just going to have to come in, and we need to break the relationship here because it's a child of the corridor. So I'm just going to come in and I'm going to remove the rule. Again, if I just select the corridor now, and I'm going to go into corridor references, and we're going to add a corridor reference, locate the reference feature and reset. And once the geometry is now associated with that corridor, the rule that we set up in the template for the horizontal feature constraint will allow the display rule to kick in and remove the curb and its children from the corridor. This method again will involve adding key stations, and also we will have to remove a millimeter and add a millimeter onto those stations, and if the junction does move, we're going to have to repeat the process. Again, something that we're looking at making a lot easier to resolve in a future release of the software.